Hey, what's happening out there today? Remo back. We are out for our very first public look at map 3 of the Highway Haulin region. It is yet to be named, as you may have seen earlier, so looking for any ideas. This mod map is going to focus on the oil drilling and hauling stuff out for that. Obviously, we're going to release a single map first. And at this point, I'm just going to build all 4 maps individually, and I'm going to release the region as finished, all 4 maps. Probably going to do a 2-map region, which means we're going to have to decide what 2 maps we want to use when it's all said and done, so something to look forward to a bit in the future. The reason I want to put out a 2-map region is just for... I don't think Switch can do 2 maps. We'll have to see. I'm gonna size-wise, I just want to make sure all the other consoles can get at least a version of the region. I think PS5 might be the most blocked in terms of size, so it's hard to say. We'll do a 4-map region though after this. It's gonna have a whole set of new missions. What I've done, Middlebrook is going to be kind of similar, but way more expansive in terms of building. All the factories and stuff have to be built up, and then you're going to get loading areas out of either upgrading or building the factories. A lot of the stuff you're going to need are going to be on these other 3 maps, so it's going to completely change everything you've seen in the single map versions. I don't want to call them filler tasks. I tried to put a fair bit of effort into making them interesting, but bottom line is they were just kind of things to put in for the single map versions. And again, I always release these single maps just for console size, in terms of if somebody wants to either play with significantly more mod trucks so they're not eating up all the space with the mod map. And again, Switch is really limited in how much it can store, so those are the biggest reasons I always put out single map versions. Just basically think of the region as going to be a chance to replay all these worlds together with a totally different set of missions in terms of just everything you're doing. There's going to be a lot of extra stuff. I've only put so many recoveries even on these single maps, just because I want to save some different ones for the region. There's some trucks that are sitting out there without any missions tied to them, which will be utilized later on. So now you can see here what we're heading into. I'm gonna try and make this map kind of a marshy, not a lot of big hills. My thought for a name was maybe incorporating valley into it somehow, but it's going to be a lot of lowlands like this, a lot of open areas, and then forested areas, so you're going to get a lot of variety in the trails. There are a ton of rivers on this one, and swamps and small creeks, so you're going to be able to use the small creeks just like the one we passed as a road, if you like. I'm going to try and keep the mud pretty reasonable. Again, this whole region, I really do want to make it so it's mostly vanilla friendly. Like, there might be some tough spots, but... And I mean, you have a lot of variety with the vanilla trucks, but regardless, this one's going to be a lot of big hauls. We're going to be opening some drilling areas. I want to work on putting in a contract to move one like I did in the Pembina map. So you kind of got to go over and dismantle, and I can use the buildable models backwards so it'll take it apart, although it won't look quite right, but we'll make it work. And move stuff over to a new area. I might make a little bit of logging stuff on this map, just for another option in the region, and we're going to want some logs for a few of the missions here. Always looking for suggestions of what you'd like to see for missions or ideas, or like with a focus on the oil and drilling and that kind of stuff. I figured we could work in some water deliveries, which are definitely going to be in the region. Fuel deliveries. Again, all these different out maps in the region are going to make the whole world feel quite a bit bigger, and each map should feel quite a bit different. Like Timber Creek is going to be focused on logging if you've had a chance to get out on it. Middlebrook, which is going to be the main core of this region, is really a lived-in, more pavement and good dirt roads. It's not really that tough, but when you go out to each one of these, this is where we're going to get into this kind of driving. This is really just a trail that I have made kind of straight up through the map. It's most of the way across the map, and it's kind of a proof of concept. Like, I have the look I want in my head when I start, but it's can you achieve it? And right now I like, it's kind of giving me the feel that I was going for, in terms of you go through a bit of thick forest and then you're going to come out into an opening. This is going to prove to be a nasty little bridge, I'm pretty sure. We're going to just take our time across. I didn't mention it earlier, but we're in the TWM oil field pack, the Peterman, sorry. And then we have the Trail Ripper from Iceberg. And the old telehandler there. It's good for dragging around sometimes, extra weight. Yeah, this bridge is going to get us, I can assure you that. Might even make it a little more unlevel. First time I've been across this. I've only just been building this the last few days. Well, a week basically, here and there. I think we'll bring her around back to some daylight now. This is the Season 12 Sky Pack in weather that I'm trying out here. It's got some nice sunset and sunrises in it. Doesn't have too much rain from the looks of it. About what I was going for mud depth in here. I don't want these to be like crazy bogs, but in general this map is going to be pretty wet. Like after a bunch of rain, and even some spots you think would be dry, this is a little bit less mud than I was going for, so we'll have to give it a little bit more depth in here. But I do want a lot of the roads to almost, or at least as close as I can, make it feel like it's slippery mud. Just a little bit annoying to steer and move around in. I haven't put really too much thought into where the rest of the map's gonna go. This is just kind of the first little concept of it. I do have to keep in mind that we're going to be hauling some 8-slot trailers around, so hang up is going to be an issue. So I'll keep that in mind. There's going to be, again, a lot of little trails like Timber Creek, and then some bigger ones. Won't really be any bridges on this one. I mean, this is looking pretty good. It's really the, like I said, the feel where I want us to be coming in and out of bushes and having to cross swamps, and we're making our way out to a rig site. I could probably rut out the road a little bit more here. It's still pretty flat, but I haven't spent a lot of time on it yet. I did a little bit. Definitely makes it a lot more challenge to drive when you tip things around and, like I said, make little tire ruts and stuff like that. Shouldn't have any crazy big hills in this one. It's going to be pretty flat, but typically the oil drilling areas seem to be. But there's going to be quite a bit of mud on this one. And I'll tell you, if you get into the swampy areas, that is where it's going to be pretty aggressive mud. You stay on the trails and in around. I mean, obviously I always hide little spots, really try to mix up the mud depths. But you should be pretty good on the trails, but if you start cutting your own paths, you're probably going to run into some fun. You will. I'll make sure of it. We're getting close now. I used the Terra tires on the Peterman, and I think they're relatively OP. But I love the look of the truck. It's an oil field truck. Haul some stuff out and give us all a quick look at what's coming. And I figured this would plow through pretty good and look good. But it is a spot where I will be doing some running with quite a few different vehicles to get a feel of the mud. And obviously anyone in my any of my channel members that have a PC, I'm just going to adjust it around, and I'm just going to open it up to anyone that joins the channel membership. Obviously I can't do it for console, but anyone that joins membership is going to get access to these maps as I build them, so I'll get enough to give you a little bit to run around done, and then I typically release for anyone to give it a try and really add suggestions and ideas. So we're just about there. I need to add some more stuff on the roads here. It looks a little plain, but around the forest and the different sizes of trees, and it's all like pine trees, I think it gives a pretty good feel. You can see the drilling site in the background there that I just threw a couple models down. You'll see I was playing with one of the big mast builds, and I've figured out where I can hide it under the ground so it basically appears from nowhere. Which is one thing that kind of sucks with a lot of these models, is there's already a half-built building here, so you got to kind of work with it. But I'm trying to make it more realistic. And with the mod restrictions, as from my last video explaining why it happens, I just don't like putting any custom stuff into the game because it just eats up more space. And like, the devs have given us a lot of stuff to use here. I can be creative. And here we are. Let me know what you think of the drive so far, what you want to see. I should have a new video out pretty soon, and I'll have one out midweek sometime for channel members of behind the scenes. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.